Hey guys, welcome to the August manga haul. You'll see some familiar series here as well as some new series, so I'm excited to tell you guys my thoughts on everything that I've read this month, and let's get right into it. First in the manga haul this month is one of my favorite manhwas or Korean manga called Solo Leveling. Solo Leveling follows someone who is well known as being the weakest hunter who, after a near-death experience, gains a game-like system that allows him to get stronger. This is a really great series where the main character gets progressively stronger and surprises everyone around him who once thought him as the weakest. The action in the series is really good, and I personally love the game system that's implemented in the story where our main character levels up and gains abilities and new equipments that makes him stronger. Normally in this world of hunters, you can only get slowly stronger by buying new equipment, so our main character is literally breaking the rules with this game system that allows him to become physically and mentally stronger by killing monsters to level up. I'm not the biggest fan of shonen manga, but Solo Leveling is always a series that I'm extremely excited to continue reading, and if you're looking for a really fun action manga, I really recommend Solo Leveling. Next, I got the newest volume of Konosuba, a really funny isekai with really great characters, but honestly guys, I have to admit that I haven't been enjoying the recent new volumes as much as before, and I think I'm gonna drop this series. This series is becoming more of a slice of life comedy with less focus on a direct story, and I personally like slice of life anime, but I can only take so much of reading slice of life before I become disinterested, and unfortunately that is what happened with this story. Without a clear narrative, I've slowly lost interest, but I know I'll enjoy the new anime adaptations of the story because I'm really still interested in all the characters and the comedy. With how popular the series is, I have no doubt that they're going to try to adapt as much material as possible, and we could even potentially see this entire series adapted into anime, so instead of reading the light novels, I think I'm going to patiently wait for the new anime. However, if you're a fan of reading comedies, I have no doubt that you'll be a huge fan of the Konosuba light novels. Chainsaw Man is a series that gets better with every volume, and this new volume continues the story of Denji, a previously homeless boy who almost dies at the hands of devil monsters before he's able to make a contract with the devil Chainsaw and gains the powers as the Chainsaw Man. What makes this series great is all of the brutal action along with the great cast of characters, each with their own unique devil power. It's honestly just a really fun read, with the author also adding in the perfect amount of depressive moments that remind you that this world of devils killing each other is not a happy one. There is a perfect blend between light and dark moments that make every chapter an interesting read. I believe the anime adaptation for this series should be airing later this year, and it's never too late to start picking up this manga. Next is my favorite romance series, Kaguya-sama Love is War, about two high schoolers playing mind games to get the other to confess their love to each other first. This series has a great cast of characters, all written with great depth and all gain great character development throughout the story. This is one of the few series I've read where there's a clear romantic development between the two leads, and the author does a good job of creating an interesting supporting cast that makes this a very engaging read. This volume continues the current arc that is focusing on the few of the side characters, and I still really enjoy it. The characters are all so good that even without a focus on the main couple, the story is still really fun to read. There are 2 seasons of anime that adapted the first 10 volumes of the series, and I'm excited to see the new seasons. This series is extremely popular, so I have no doubt that there will be a full anime adaptation for this, but if you're interested in reading the manga, I assure you that it is just as fun to read as it is to watch the anime. Next, I got the final volume to the Quintessential Quintuplets, a horror romance series where a group of high school quintuplets fall in love with their classmate tutor. This final volume concludes the end of the series, and I've seen mixed opinions on the ending where some like it and some don't. The ending shows the tutor picking one of the quintuplets to be his girlfriend and ultimately marry her, which has been foreshadowed the entire series, and I think overall it is a positive ending, but it did feel a little rushed. I wish the author took a chapter to show the final couple go on a date or do something that showed that they are officially now a couple. In the end, the author even shows the wedding that takes place in the future, and one gripe I have with the story is that even though that they're getting married, he shows that the other quintuplets still aren't over their high school crush of the tutor, which seems unrealistic. It seems odd that 5 years later the girls are still in love with the guy that their sister is marrying, which I didn't really like. I don't dislike the ending, I was just a little disappointed, and overall I think the story as a whole was really good, and I would recommend this to anyone who's a fan of a romantic comedies with a harem. 21st Century Boys is the final book in the 20th Century Boys series, which I found to be a little bit underwhelming when I finished reading it. 20th Century Boys is a story with huge world building that is about a man trying to take over the world using the plans that were made by a group of childhood friends when they were children. Now this same group of childhood friends as adults must come together to save the world from this evil man. This series is full of mystery and I found it to be a really engaging read through the first few volumes. But halfway through I found it to be kind of a chore to read as the author kept on introducing new mysteries and new characters with less foreshadowing, and I became less interested in the new characters. When 20th Century Boys ended, it wasn't a clear ending and definitely still had some loose ends, so I was hoping 21st Century Boys would clear them up. But I found 21st Century cleared up some mystery but also added new questions, and ultimately I'm still unsatisfied with the end of the story. I really felt that the story was dragged out longer than it needed to be, and even though I thought the author did a good job of world building and creating a large cast of characters, I also found that to be a negative as there were too many characters and not enough focus on the few that I was really interested in. If you're planning on getting this series, I would say read it slowly, as since I binge read it, I may have hindered my enjoyment when I was just reading fast to uncover all the mystery. Boarding School Juliet is one of the biggest surprises for me, as I didn't really think I would like this series as much as I have. I've picked up every volume except for the very last one, and I really have to say that if you're a fan of romantic comedies, this series is the best. Similar to Romeo and Juliet, the two main characters are a part of opposing factions in the school, and they are secretly dating while trying to change the world because they believe their love is not wrong. This series has the perfect blend between slice and life chapters that focus on the romance between the two couples while adding in proper arcs that move the story forward, as the main characters must make progress towards changing the world. There's a pretty good anime adaptation for this series, but I think the best arcs in the stories really happen after the anime stops, which is a real shame. Anyone who likes romance should 100% have Boarding School Juliet in their collection, and I can't wait to get the final volume that concludes this story. Next, I got more volumes of one of my favorite light novels right now, Classroom of the Elite. If you like stories about a person who is secretly hiding his powers, you'll love this story. Classroom of the Elite follows a high school that constantly challenges its students by forcing them to compete with each other in school events. Our main character wants nothing more than to have a peaceful high school life, but external factors from the school and other students keep forcing him into situations that make him use his wits to complete all challenges. This story is very grounded in reality, and all the students' powers are just how smart they are and how physically strong they are. Our main character is extremely strong in both brains and brawn, but purposely displays himself as an average person to not draw attention. He's smart enough to use other people and hide in the shadows as everyone else does his dirty work. What I like about his character is that he's completely new to social situations, so he's trying to have a normal high school life while still being a target as one of the secretly smartest people in school. He's a fun and interesting character to follow, and every new volume is hard to put down once I pick it up. If you're a fan of series like Death Note and Code Geass, where the main character needs to outsmart his opponents, you'll love this series. The last series I got is The Daily Lives of High School Boys, which is a comedy manga series that is a story just about random funny stuff. There's no linear story, and every chapter is about 6 to 8 pages, so it's really fast-paced random comedy. This series also has a really great anime adaptation that basically adapts the manga 1-to-1, so you're not missing anything if you watch the anime instead. The manga has a couple of other chapters that aren't fully adapted, but overall, if you want to watch the comedy series instead of reading it, you aren't going to miss out on much. This is a short manga series at 7 volumes, with the final volume being released in September. If you're looking for a fun, mindless comedy to read, I would recommend The Daily Lives of High School Boys for you. That's it for this month's haul. Thank you for watching. I wasn't able to show everything that I got. There's a few, like 2-3 series that I wasn't able to show just because I want to take the time to finish reading it and give my opinion before I like to show it to you guys. So I'll definitely show that in next month's haul, and I'll see you then.